Okay, welcome to another day in the Milky Way, folks. And we made it. Sorry, run a little bit late. Had to reboot the computer, but we're on, and then we got talking. So you know how that goes, and it's just one of those things. So here we are, and welcome. And tonight we got Trina, and we got Steve, and we got Darth, who's going to read us a card tonight to get us all started. But I want to say thanks, Steve, for coming on and doing this. You're in your truck, you're plowing snow in a blizzard. So talk about
well, it's not quite a blizzard, but it's snowing.
Well, yeah, but still. Hey, if you were in Arizona, that would be a blizzard.
Right.
And,
I'd be a snow cone if I was in Arizona.
Oh, I know. And Trina, what do you got for temps there?
What do I got for what?
Temperature. What?
Oh, it's really strange. We actually have 4 or 5 days of rain, and in Phoenix, that's crazy rare. But it's not that cold. Yeah. But if
is it connected to the split vortex too?
Well, if it was cold today, we would have had total snow because it was snow rain, but there was no snow because it's not cold enough. But yeah, we had it all day today.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's not cold. It's probably in the 60s. It's not that cold at all.
No rain. At 60 degrees? What?
That's rainy, but if I was up in the mountains, it would have been snowing. But it's just no.
I got you. I'm just giving you a little crap because you're like you're spoiled.
Yeah.
That's why I live here. I can't do the cold. I just have no.
Lucky you. I'm so glad I'm moving away from that crap in 4 months.
Yeah, there you go, Darth.
I love the snow.
I will be in Sedona in 4 months from now.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the sun.
I do not like the cold. 26 years of this is nobody know.
Yeah, I've never been in the cold. I don't handle it well. It's because my blood.
Did you just say 26 years? How old are you, Darth?
26.
Oh my.
I don't like the cold at all. I'm allergic to the cold, actually.
Oh yeah, well I'm with you, Darth. I'm allergic to it too. I'm like, nope.
If I stay out too long, usually I trip to the hospital, depending on what the how in the negative it is.
You just get used to it. When you live in the cold areas, like myself and Steve,
I love it.
we just grew up like that. We're tough. I mean, it's 20 degrees out. We're out there with just a little shirt on, kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know about you, but that's the way it is.
If I wasn't so fat, I'd be running around naked out here. I'm kidding.
Sorry, cold weather is not my taste.
I'm kidding. I'm not that tough.
I'd rather be on the beach somewhere nice.
They would try to get you for indecency, but at that point they just shake their heads.
Yeah,
you see a guy running naked in Minnesota, you're gonna shake your head and go, "What an idiot!"
Right? What is wrong with that guy? Yeah, what is wrong with that guy?
Yeah, they won't.
He should be in Arizona running naked.
No, they don't call the cops. They just call the ambulance at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Frostbite. Yeah.
Oh,
so how have you guys been feeling with the Schumann resonance going off the charts yesterday? I woke up with a headache this morning.
Well, Thursday night I couldn't sleep. And my body.
Trina, have you heard me of my correlation? Oh, were you still talking? I'm sorry, Darth. Go ahead,
no,
bud.
You're fine.
Finish what you were saying.
Oh, yes. Thursday, I couldn't sleep at all.
Me either.
It's like I tried to even do some of the Gnostic teaching that they told me to do. Don't think of it as sleeping, think of it as astral travel and just calming your mind and get used to calling it astral travel and not sleeping anymore. I'm like, that makes sense. Since that's what you're actually doing, going through the different temples and working on, because I'm like, oh, that explains a whole lot.
Yeah, I didn't sleep either. And then I woke up today with a headache. It's like this Schumann resonance been crazy in the magnetics, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. It feels like above.
Have you heard the correlation I made between I just had an aha moment with there's 7.83 billion people on the planet, and the Schumann resonance it's supposed to be at 7.83 hertz. So each one of us is 1/1000th of a heart or a hurt.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely, you're absolutely spot on. And then, you know, Steve, I think if we were to have an accurate count of the light and the stars in our direct solar system, I'm pretty sure it'd probably be about 7.3 billion stars.
You ever seen Lion King? I'm sure you have, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
When Mufasa tells him to, you know, when you look up in the stars, and you know, it's the kings of old and the kings of the past, and we're all looking down on you.
Yes.
I think that they're probably. I think you're maybe pretty close to that, or there's just an infinite number, you know.
Yeah.
In a finite construct, of course.
You know, I think it could be like you said, like the 7 point whatever a billion,
8.3
or it could be a reflection of our cell count, which is like what 3.5 trillion or something. But I just know it's the whole as above, so below. This is like scientific in its study, and we're just figuring it out. But yeah,
well, that's why I was so intrigued by the title of this podcast, because know thyself is what I've been pondering lately. And you know, Phil actually just did a video on knowing thyself, and it was exactly how I was thinking. You know, because I don't know, we'll go into it after we start the show here.
Okay.
I just don't want to ramble on, you know. But yeah, it goes hand in hand with what I've been looking at. So
yeah,
absolutely.
I think one of the big parts of us understanding who we are is understanding our energy bodies, because that's a big part that a lot of us have missed. You know, it's like, what is the causal body? What is the etheric body? What is the astral body? You know, getting a better understanding of that, to me, helped me get a better understanding of my body, all of my bodies.
I've actually did a quantum healing last week for the first time. It's actually not bad. The person who did it was from my past life as a draconian.
Oh, right on.
And and what we both came to the conclusion was we both signed this agreement to do the healing at this time, to forgive each other for what happened in Atlantis. Because from what I remember, I was trying to save people to help them and get aboard these ships, or at least get to higher ground. And I think he was the one who actually tricked my group, and we ended up drowning instead of no. Because we were supposed to meet with another group on near India, I think it was, and all of a sudden, we didn't make it in time because we were tricked. And so we did the healing with him, and kind of nice, because you can really feel the energy of that healing between both parties. You can feel the joy and the love between each other.
Absolutely.
How it goes both ways.
Yes.
And I found out in one of my early past lives, I was a alpha draconian, one of the first dragons of their form. It was kind of neat.
And how exactly did you find that out, Darth?
They're in the quantum healing, actually.
Oh.
Because there were
hypnosis? Was it hypnosis or?
It's kind of more like an astral travel or a guided meditation.
More like that. I was actually I was in my crystal temple in the astral realm, and I saw 12 elders, which were my 12 first incarnations as I took it. 2 are easy to identify. One was like the Illyrian race, the progenitors of all humanoids. And then
the progenitors,
Then that draconian form I also had as well, but I don't know what the other 10 are. I just can't figure out the names.
That's interesting.
It doesn't translate well into English. It's like I want to know what the other 10 are, but I can't seem to translate them into English. It's the only problem.
Try to maybe draw them.
Draw?
Then you might be able to hear something you can make audible for a vibrational match.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Darth, you got a card pulled. While you're pulling that card, I'm going to say hi to everybody.
Yeah,
we got a
too.
whole group of people in the house today. We got Teresa Dianton. We got Gaza Kev from Down Under. We got Amu Mar, Deborah Sloan, Posey, Lori from Pure Love Ascension, Tanya Rose, Milky's mom, Brenda. Hey, how you doing? And much love. Glad you could come. Let's see here. Isby, who's changed his name so many times, I have to keep changing it and remembering who he is. But now he's Isby543. It's like BR5439.
Who is that? I keep seeing that character everywhere. Who is that?
That's Twisted Isby.
Yeah.
Huh?
Twisted Isby.
Yeah.
Who is Isby?
He's not Twisted no more. Isn't he from Florida? I think he's from Florida.
I don't know. His name's Ken, right?
Yeah, I think so. So from I think he lives down in Florida way, but I'm not sure. Jules is in the house, and Michelle Can-Am Free. I think she lives in Wisconsin.
Hi, Michelle. I love you.
She's probably getting snow too. David Castle, who was having internet problems earlier today. Slow internet speed. I tell you, I understand. We got Deborah L. Smith and Mandy Moo.
Mandy Moo.
How are you?
Yeah, I just love that name. I tell you, she's just so
sweet.
Is cool. And Lucky Stone, I got to get you on here again. We got to have a show one of these days. Man, oh man. I see Mary Wins. Mary Wins dropped in. She was here early. Man, they were chatting up a whole...
Mary, why you bugging?
And we got Chloe. Chloe can't be in chat, but she'll be listening. She says, love to you all, my beautiful tribe.
Love to you too.
So there you go. So if you can't type in chat, we know you're listening. And Darth, back to you. What do you got for...
two of them. I only wanted one of them.
Izzy says his phone number's changed. Okay, Darth, sorry.
First one is the tower, which I think a lot of us are actually going through. And the second,
you gotta picture it. You gotta hold it up to the thing for a second.
That good?
Yeah, say something loud.
The tower.
Okay, yeah.
And the second one is the star that comes after that. So they are both the major transformation cards. Right now, I think the world going through the tower moment, and they're kind of basically where I was after like 2016. I had this message like I need to clear all my karma contracts. The first one was at the nursing home because something told me this is your last reincarnation while I was working. I'm like, okay, not sure what that meant whatsoever. Not until I found this group, which was like 2 years after Jeff's show, and that's what really catalyzed me to get moving and everything. So didn't think everything would be coming so quickly. The star also talks about what I'm seeing is a new government for us, a better one after the old one collapses. I don't know why I'm just seeing ever since Wayne did that show, I feel like we will get our original government what was supposed to be back. I'm just feeling that if we can match that vibration.
Yeah. Well, maybe, and things.
I don't know
time
why
is moving. You're right on the time. You're right on the time moving fast. I mean, we've all been talking about how fast time is moving.
Interesting too.
They actually just put on an article that it was 1 second less or something like that last year.
Yeah.
And then he pulled the tower, and then he pulled the star card. The star card, isn't that the representation of the age of Aquarius?
Yep. The very sign I was born under for some odd reason.
That's a good sign.
Yep. Everything
which I'm
is
actually grateful for.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So thank you. That was good. That hit, see, the cards don't lie. They hit on every single time.
Actually, I remember before coming to Earth, like from my last life as a war back in the Second World War, I remember asking if I could help volunteer gathering up souls to come here. Because I had just died. So I'm like, they asked me if you want to help gather souls, and that was really difficult for me because
So you're the soul collector.
No, I mean to help.
Like the bone collector. I was making a crack at you, Darth. I was just kidding, buddy.
No, it helps you raise the vibration of the earth. And I remember having a difficult time with that because, especially when you're a war vet who never actually healed, that's going to leave off a. How do you say that to a soul who's never been in that kind of vibration before? Because I'm pretty sure they can read that energy. I'm just having a hard time describing it.
Yeah.
Like an imprint or what? Is that what you mean?
Something close to that?
It's new soul. It's just a brand new soul. It doesn't have a lot of patterns in it yet. It doesn't have any karma yet. It doesn't have experience yet. It's new.
And I'm trying to show them the joys of coming to Earth, and the only problem is I think I'm showing them the wrong memory, so they keep
They're like, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't think I was showing.
It sounds like you're quoting that new movie, Disney movie, Soul, actually, that just came out.
Yeah, because I see myself as that old grandpa who tried to convince the younger souls, but of course I could come out of a war zone, so it's like, oh yeah, not doing a good job here.
Cool.
Absolutely. So we got what we're talking about tonight going, and we're talking about the I don't know, the in between,
the inner machinations.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the inner between, because that is the out, and then we have the the in, and then there's
you know what Bethlehem means, right?
Nope.
Bethlehem means the house of bread, and a house is a interface between the inside and the outside. It's a place where the out and the in coexist. And bread, when it rises, it grows. Just like our mind, our brains are like dough, and as we rise in understanding, the knowledge, it fills us with enough knowledge to the point where we don't need knowledge anymore. We just are, and that's why we are Bethlehem. That's where the whole Jesus in the manger comes from, is Bethlehem. The Star of Bethlehem, and that's just what was in the sky, right?
Yep.
Yes. It's also too the representation of new life, new birth.
Yes, ma'am.
And coming from the spiritual into the physical form, and through that, it's the rising of the bread. Like Steve says, it's a representation of a woman's belly getting bigger when she gets pregnant. So yes, we are the house of bread, and the Bethlehem and the temple. The body is the temple, and then think about it inside the temple in Jerusalem. There's the higher temple. So there's the inner court. So you have the temple, then you walk into the inner court, that's the mind, and then some very few could have access to the higher temple, and that was when you activate the pineal gland and awaken the third eye.
Yes. See now, so during putting this all together, I had, I'm writing down notes so I can ask you, because, I'm the average Joe. I need to ask these questions. Our form, that's what came up. And I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, okay, how does our form, because we're all different, but we're the same, all at the same time. And if we're here, and we're doing this higher and lower vibration, divine feminine and masculine and all that for the balance and everything. On the other side, our higher self is why we can't connect, is because we're in this form. let me refine it a
Well,
little
that's
bit.
what it's all about, Robert. That's what it's all about. God is our true one self, man.
Okay, so in this form, our brains cannot think as fast. So everything here is slower. We're talking about time there. So what I'm trying to ask you guys, because you're probably more smarter about this than I am. So here we think slow. Up there, or in the higher self realm, we have no restrictions. There's no air. There's no nothing to slow anything down. So everything there is sped up. So if I wanted to answer a question there, it could come like here. Here, I got to think on it for days. Whereas I think I'm thinking of it just like this. There, I've already thought of it. You see what I mean?
So, yeah, you got to come in from the out now, because there is no up there. Up there is inside of you. That the aroma is going to be found within you, in the center.
So I'm trying to make sense of, the separation between, my thinking and my higher self's thinking, so that I can connect with that higher self better. Because either if it's inside me or outside me, up here, up there, wherever it is, how can I connect with that?
Robert, think of it as an antenna. This is the best way to connect to the different parts of self. Everything is about vibration and frequency.
Yes.
And so the higher you can vibrate, the higher radio stations you're able to tune into. So this is why you would have access to the 5th dimensional body, and higher would be through a vibrational shift within your physical body. Because see, the thing that does slow us down and keep us from that motion is about matter. It's about the vibration of the density of the physical body, the physical reality, the physical matrix. So it's when you go through that.
Physicality is the lowest vibrational frequency, or whatever, or the densest, I guess. No pun intended.
Density. Yes.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I was trying to get at. Is here it feels really dense. That's the thing. Yes. We're in this fluid.
In more ways than one.
In magic feels like it takes forever.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. We all know that. We've all heard that time doesn't exist, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, time grew into the abyss, which is our mind. Our mind is the abyss. That's the unmanifest potential of everything in our mind. That is all located within us. Now, that potential, when we tap that, and when we come full circle, and I'm trying to figure out a way to explain it so it's simple, but it's not. It's all this stuff is too simple, yet hard to explain. Like Darth was just saying about the language thing, where the house is a place where in and out coexist. Squaring the circle, you can think of the square as the finite, and the circle as the infinite. Yet they are exactly the same thing, because they're 360 degrees each. If you can wrap your mind around that, you know what I mean? And the finite is the house for the infinite. So infinite is in finite. A little wordplay there, but it's true. And we are just a vessel, the radios, if you will, receiving a signal. And I think it depends on your perspective, your personal point source perspective, on how you're going to receive that signal and disseminate that signal. And the vibrational thing is a learned, or a step, or a tiered process, where you have to work your way up, because you can't just go from living in a cave to flying in a anti-gravity machine overnight. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to handle it. That document that I shared, Ptah-hotep, speaks all about that, and it's spot on, I think. So look that up, that Ptah-hotep document, where she's talking to her dad or whatever. It's pretty cool. It talks about all that stuff. Yeah. I don't know if I explained what I was trying to explain.
No, I understand. Yeah, you can't take something technical and go back, in time, and then give it to a caveman, and then he just picks it up and says, "Hey, look, Cell phone, good. I called. I called other caveman. Yeah, I know how it works.
Now I remember what I forgot I was saying in the middle of what I was saying. I'm sorry. The time thing, time doesn't exist, but the light is an eternal thing. That's what we all are. Tesla said it. Everybody says it. Light is everything. So that light, that infinite moment of pulse light, is the Big Bang that we all reside in. Yet we have time in a physical, dense matter sense to segregate our consciousness so we can understand its linear fashion. And that's what entropy is time. So in time, or in timelessness, we create the timeless thing at a point in time. That's the anomaly that is the birth of the only begotten, of the Jesus, of the Big Bang, the aha moment of your pineal gland, shining.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Big Bang is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
pretty
also
deep, dude, but it's hard to explain.
Conception too. Again, you got to think about birth too. The same thing happens in birth. So when an egg and a sperm meet, they have that Big Bang. And that's when the two elements come together to get into the material realm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I think that flash of light is the door that lets you into the realm.
Okay. So
I think it's everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The light.
The light. Yes. You get, there's the darker light. Well, it's all light. It's just different versions of the light, just like
Ken Wheeler calls it hard light. That's a pretty good term. Hard light.
Hard light.
Matter.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Because everything is radiating. Because it's like, okay, so I got on my notes. These are my notes and questions, and you can figure things out. Okay. You have the right and the left brain, right? Should that not be half feminine, masculine? Which side is which? And do you is that why when you're right-handed, or one side of the brain you use more than the other? Is that how that works? I
think Trina should answer this, but ain't nothing right about me because I'm all that's left.
Okay. What I understand is that yes, there's the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. You're crossed. So the right is connected by the left, and the left is connected to the right. So it makes that X, and that's the magic X that you always see. This is about that polarity that's within you. So the right side of the mind is the more creative part. It's the more feminine part. The left part is the more logical part. It's the more masculine part. And it's like you would think it would be the opposite, because in the left hand, it's the feminine, it's the receptive. And then the right is the masculine, it's ascending, it's the positive. So when you use your, like I write with my left hand, so I'm right brain dominant, which means it's the more creative, more intuitive part of the function. So within this, the duality, it crosses all through the body. It's so powerful. When you think about, I had a download the other day talking about this masculine, feminine. How could we understand what these are inside of us? And I was like, keep it simple. So, and I literally heard, okay, if you want to understand the mother and the father, the right mind and the left mind, think of it this way. Mother, thank you for creating me. Because mother controls the physical realm, the material realm. This is her dominion. But none of it exists without the imagination or the thought from the father. So mother, thank you for creating me. And father, thank you for thinking of me. Because you're a thought expressed from all that is as a fractal of that. But to create your individual spark, the father imagined you and the mother conceived you, and you were born through as the child of God, the Christ.
What you just described right there was obelisks sticking up into the cosmos, as well as the as well as the God inseminates you with truth and
that's what I call it, the
inseminates
holy
the abyss.
pole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
exactly.
yeah.
That's what the Washington Monument is.
Yeah. That's a dark pole, bro. That's a satanic pole. But the pole in the galaxy, the polar star, Polaris, it's the pole star, that's our holy pole because it's the center of our galaxy. Yeah, and it's like the needle that impregnated the entire system. That's how I see it. Like literally,
but it's only the center of our visual acuity, though, right? It's not the center of anything else, but our Earth axis.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's spot on, though. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, I was so amazed the other day. It's like, Mother, thank you for creating me, and Father, thank you for thinking of me, because that thought created my point of view, my individual
and that's exactly what it is, huh? You come to that conclusion that everybody's going to see it differently, but it's still the same and it's still right.
But we're all the same thing. Yes, we're all the same.
As you arrive at the right one truth, because there's only one truth, otherwise everything would be false. So
yes,
there's more ways than one to get there, though.
Yes.
Speaking of that, I got a message from Raw Consciousness, and like it was kind of interesting. And the way the whole God thing works, the way he told me, can you stop calling us gods and just see us as your siblings or friends? That way we can work better with you. Family.
Yes.
And I'm like, that makes sense. I'm like, wait, I was actually kind of surprised that Raw was actually communicating by name of who he was when he was here on the last time I met him on Earth. Because I met him in the physical form back in Egypt, and now all of a sudden, like 8,000 years later, he's one of my guides. So I found that kind of interesting out.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to feel noble back then, not to. I was trying to not deify them, I guess.
Well, it's so funny, Darth. You need to listen to your own wisdom that you just said that you saw yourself expressed as 712 original incarnations, which were different creations of life, one being draconian, different beings, different bodies, different solar systems, but you saw yourself as an emanation from those 12 original incarnations, that you're now a fractal part of that original 12.
Yep.
It's what I've always seen. And I've had the same thing. I had an astral thing, and I saw a council of 12, and the Lord was there, Lady Nada, an angelic being, an alien being. There were multiple beings there, and there were 12 of them. And I was like feeling all worshipy because the energy that emanated from these beings was overwhelming. And I was like, get it together. Keep your cool. Keep your cool. And they started laughing at me. And I was like, what's so funny? And they all covered their heads and lifted their hoods up, and they all had my face. And they were showing me that we are one. You are me. You're a fractal of my consciousness further down the road of expression of opportunity. So it's like these fractals, just like our Father bursts forth light and matter captures it, and then we put it into wombs and create new life. It's all about this dance between our mother and our father. So I am those 12 entities that I saw. And when I realized that, I understood that this is not about a worship thing. This is about an honoring and an absolute love that is so deep, because this is your family.
Yeah, I remember meeting my first guide I remember meeting my first guide after walking out Christianity. I knew who it was right away. I'm like, oh, Poseidon. I didn't have a worship action of him because I already knew.
You're like, hi, what's up, Poseidon? And
it felt more like a brotherly connection because I already felt like I already knew him. Because I was already doing research as when I was a kid, because something just told me to collect these, like fictional books and see me more as a parental guide or something like that through the Percy Jackson book, because I always saw myself through the eyes of Percy Jackson, who is his son in the books. So it's like it was very easy for me to connect to him, and not the same way as Jesus, because that was more of a worshiping way, and I think he wanted me to steer clear from that when I was mature enough to meet him for the first time. And I knew it was him. It was like, oh, this feels like the ocean. This feels like him. Very warm, masculine, very welcoming.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, out of all the ones I've ever had contact with, I will tell you, the Jesus, Yeshua energy is definitely the most loving, compassionate one I've ever experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the Virgin, Mother Mary energies too. Those are profoundly like you almost can't help the energy of wanting to fall to your knees. It overtakes you a little bit. You have to really get it together because it's so much love. You just like it's so hard to put into words, but it like you feel it in every cell of your body, and it's amazing.
Funny enough, he was my main spirit guide for my last 3 lives as well. I'm like, oh, that's awesome when I found that out. No wonder he feels so familiar.
Yes.
It was like
and I don't
reuniting.
think
It was like reuniting with an old friend.
I don't think we get these spirit guides by random, guys. I think they're literally part of our genetics. They're part of your family bloodline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I got something here. Your higher self is the you that is unlimited and external. It is part of what excites you, and in your inspiration guides you with the intuition that teaches you through your insight. It knows everything about you, but chances are that you probably had very limited conversation with your higher self, which is most people, because they don't know they're doing it. It has incredible useful flashes of intuition and inspiration become a much bigger part of your life if you allow this communication to flourish. So first you got to learn how to communicate with your higher self. Like you said, there's 12 of you and they're all you. They're just different versions of you along your lines. Connecting with your higher self is something of a paradox. You are connected always. You're always, get that? Always connected. Always, in fact, it is more connection than unity. The physical you can be separated from the energetic consciousness you, but we are all here in the physical state, and the part that includes a feeling of separation from everything else. There is no separation.
Yes.
So there you go.
That is correct.
I love this chart for the higher self.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Here, hang on. I'm going to blow that up. So hold that that thought so everybody can see. Say something loud there.
I'm talking. You guys see that?
Yep.
See, that's what I see. I see that this is the avatar. This is the higher self. And this is the oversoul. And this is where you're connected to those 12 rays.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Remember the last week, I think we were talking about things being three things deep?
Yes.
There's your three things.
Yes, that's what like they always tell me, you're 3 layers deep in consciousness. And then I saw this chart. I'm like, this is what it is.
No, I love how the Avatar series came close to that chart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They just never put in the oversoul. That's the only thing.
Well, right. That's a pretty new aspect, I think.
I don't think they knew what the oversoul was.
What's the oversoul? What are you guys talking about, the oversoul?
The oversoul to me is basically the seed pod that you were birthed out of. So this would be where you're actually connected to those original 12 disciples. So which are within you. So your original.
Yeah, that's 12, the 12 cranial nerves, right?
Yes, and that's the spark. You know,
the
oversoul is like that seeding of that template of you as a combination of those 12 entities and the 7 rays of light. So with the 12 codes from the mother, the creation templates, and then the color, the inspiration, the thought, and the motivation comes from the father as that spark. That spark hits the water, it manifests the higher self. The higher self manifests the avatar. That's why you're never
to
disconnected.
me, the higher self is God. That's my higher self, I think.
Yeah, God in you. Yes, it's the consciousness of God in you. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the semantics part of it, isn't it? That one's gonna potato, one's gonna potato.
Correct. Well, because we're all having a different. We can all be at the same exact place, but because we can't stand in the same exact position, we'll all be in different places in that room. All of us are seeing a different perspective in that room, even though we're sharing an identical experience. It's all different to each one of us. That's the different facets of God that live.
That's why eyewitnesses are always varying in their descriptions. Yes.
Totally, and they're telling the truth.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
That's how they saw it. Yes.
Okay, so this is what you're talking about. Here's another one. If you feel physical sensations of lightness, love, energy, and happiness, you are talking to the higher self. There's no identity. That's the God part you're talking about. There's no identity in the higher self. It is just energy with no beginning, no end, natural state. The higher self is free, loving, and joyful. So that's your God.
Every time I experience it, I cry.
Yeah, that's because you can't, because that higher self is everybody. So you can't really put well,
it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
Yes.
Great word.
I found that out with one of my guides, and I'm like, I found that out with Saint Germain. Saint Germain is one of the hardest for me to connect. The other two were easy that I named off. I could connect to those two really easy, but Saint Germain, for some reason, seemed a little bit harder for me. It's just that, because when you mentioned a guy with purple robe, Trina, I'm like, wait, I know who that is.
Yeah.
That was Saint Germain.
Yep.
Because when you told me that, I'm like, that guy sounds familiar. Why do I know him? But I can never seem to remember any conversations unlike the other two.
Yes. He's a very high vibration. That might be why it's a little hard to grab a hold of. And he's the master of transmutation. So he's constantly in flux.
That probably explains why
what the flux?
But I feel
trying to grab a hold of a fire,
I feel drained whenever I am thinking of Saint Germain. It's just like, why do I feel so drained?
Yeah.
Kind of rhymes. You sounded like Eminem right there.
I was not trying to rhyme.
I think sometimes when you lock in divine, you start to rhyme. I think that's why.
Yes, ma'am.
Was one of the symbols that somebody were speaking to the heavenly principles, because divinity, when I write, sometimes it comes out and rhymes all the time. It's so ridiculous.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously?
You sound like Dr. Seuss almost, right?
Yeah, and I'm not even trying. It's how it comes out. I'm like,
it sounds elementary in your mind, but if you sit back and look at it, it's pretty cool. But it means that you're plugged in.
Okay, listen, this was like one of my crazy doodles from 128, and this is poetry. So anything that resembles reality is purely coincidental, and this is purely for entertainment purposes only. Okay, disclaimer. Okay, so
nice disclaimer.
Yeah. So 12/28/2020, it is time to activate air, breakthrough, ideas, new humanity's plan to bring things into a new earth, practical governments. Water, teaching, compassion, creating harmony into the world. Fire, action, passion, doing, rather than waiting for somebody else to do it for you. The ether, this is where we go. We return to the Garden of Eden when we can reach ether. It is time to reshape the world to a more harmonious way of being. It is time to release the vows and the oaths and the contracts that we are currently under. We need to look at our governments and our flags and our corporations and slavery and how this all happens. This is the apocalypse, the great revealing, and more will be dropped in a very fast way. So many of the warriors are now the change, and they will be changing their role to the healers and the teachers. This is the apocalypse, the revealing, the well to create the well of new ideas. while also the shock and the trauma for many who will fall off of their ivory towers and pedestals. Remember to have compassion for those who are just waking. This is very hard for them because their reality is truly shaking. Reassure them that we have come here for this. We were chosen, and this trip we did not want to miss. It is time to learn and time to search and time to release all that no longer serves. Clean the body and detox the liver. Eliminate the parasites, the worm. Ooh, remember? Isaiah 41. Yeah, Isaiah 41:14. It's a mirror of the 5:5. Though you are a lowly worm, O Jacob, don't be afraid. People of Israel, for I will help you. I am the Holy One of Israel. Wormwood, black walnut, grapefruit seed extract. These are the things that parasites are attacked. Preventing the nice little thing that we have running around with invermectin and the other one, that I can't say either. So, yeah. So this is all to scare us into submission. Humanity, get off your knees. This is why you saw the taking of the knees. Remember that take your knee movement?
Kaepernick, yeah.
So I was like, this is all just mind control. The parasites affect the host. Take it over, just like the mind control has taken over us in time. Here is the first step, then the ritualistic torture, mask, isolation, fear of death, number 1. Then the media, the most powerful demon, has programmed the masses into north, south, east, and west, or the news. So invoke the magic circle, break the mind control. Wake up, children. Now it's time to do your goals. Do the research. They're lying to us. What is going on? We will find the truth and we will break free from this mind control virus that has come into our world. Funny. So like I said, it's crazy poetry, rhyming, gibberish.
Funny. When you just read matches the 2 cards that get pulled.
Right. That's why I was like, that's amazing, because that's exactly what I've been seeing. I've been seeing that we are in this power moment and we are going into Aquarius.
Healing and knowledge. Knocking down the old world.
Well, we have to, because it's broken and it's not working anymore.
No, and thank God for that.
So how do we do that? How do we do that, guys? I mean, what is the one thing we can do to assure?
Well, think about it. My children are lost. My children lose their life for lack of the truth. The reason most of us are in this position is because we don't understand how government works. We don't understand what happened in 1841. We don't understand about the republic versus the democracy. We don't understand law. We don't understand truly the systems that we are currently in. So now it is time to learn about the systems that we were in. We really need to get back out the Constitution, look at that and see what that document actually says, what it does, why it's considered a living document.
In heaven, our Constitution means nothing.
Well, only because of the fraud that was done in 1841. And that we can change, because a living document, no matter what fake papers they put on top of it, doesn't destroy the power. That's the original founding document that is.
Yeah, I should probably
founding document is about us, not about them.
Yeah, I actually been going back to the basics and been rereading the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution just for the fun of it. I'm like, something overcame me. You should go back to the basics and look that up, and before moving on to the stuff that Wayne's showing, because you might need this first. Something you just told me.
I think a lot of what went wrong was when we got out of the common law, which is natural law, and got into the maritime laws and the admiralty laws. We lost the connection.
I don't think anything's wrong. I think what's wrong was how we confront our demons and the world. And the only way to do that for me is I can only change myself. I can't change anything else. I can't change anybody else's mind. I can't change anybody else's behavior. I can't change anybody else's way of thinking. The only thing I can do is change how I feel about things inside me. And I think that's where it's the only change we can make.
No, it's not true. That's not true at all. Because if you're at a vibrational rate that is high, and you're doing your inner work,
do anything
right?
do,
you will affect
There's
the
nothing
world.
you can do about it.
No,
yourself.
You affect.
How are you going to change everything you just said, Katrina?
Okay.
Really?
Super easy. All we have to get together.
How are you going to do it?
You write papers. You write the same papers that they wrote to take these protections away. You write the same papers to put them back. It is not that hard.
You try to get a hold of YouTube once.
Yeah.
Huh?
Try to get a hold of YouTube.
That's what I'm saying though. But none of these things, they're going to have to change, or they'll fall away. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. That's how I see it too. Exactly what you just said. That the evil will take care of itself, right?
Well, everything ends up balancing
Evil only
out.
persists if good people stand back and do nothing to stop it.
Yeah. Well,
what was that?
Go ahead.
What did you say, Katrina? I didn't say there's nothing. I'm not saying this.
It's a famous quote by one of our presidents. I thought it was John F. Kennedy. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was a sweet speech.
Yeah, when good men stand back and do nothing to stop it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying do nothing about the evil. I'm saying that first of all, we need to correct our own house, and that's where it all lies, is knowing thyself. We need to know what we're capable of, what we can do, and after that, then we can do that. And people are just jumping the train and trying to jump to fix everything else outside of them, when there's so much I know inside of me, I've got so much to take care of in my own world, that in my own head, that there's no way I can change anything unless I change that. And I think that's where it all lies. For me, anyway.
So yeah, you're right. You can only change yourself. You can't change anybody else. But now here's what I've seen, and what we've been talking about. Trina says, "Hey, we're antennas, and we radiate, right? Yeah. We're all, and you said we're all connected." And Trina showed us a picture. We're all connected to the higher self up above, the big God that you're talking about, right? Yeah. Okay. So here's the scoop. If you, the lower self of you, decides that you're going to go, or you're going to be, or you're going to do, just be the leader in it. Don't be a follower. Be a leader, and then that spins off on other people, because if you decide that you are going to be the better person, other people are going to look to you and try to emulate you, not the guy in the street throwing a brick through a window. You see what I'm saying?
I totally agree with that. And I totally agree with Katrina on most of what she said, except for, that the whole, when we skip from how we're going to make change in the world to, how the base level is to jump into changing the Constitution and whatnot, or changing it back, or relearning it, or whatever. That's the only thing I.
But that's how it starts. Because if you inspire, just think about it. From our little group, if you inspire, or somebody else inspires the right person and sets a good example,
where did Katrina go?
Then the next person and the next person, it works its way up.
See on my phone.
It works its way up the ladder. Eventually, that spark is going to spark the person who can write those papers. But
that is true.
But until that happens, because you or me or Trina or Darth, we're not going to go out and write those papers. I have no idea, but there is somebody out there who can. The question is how do we get that person to do it? And the only way is to be a leader in the light instead of a follower, and lead, as
well. That's the only thing
example.
We can do is shine the light on, and hopes that it opens the door or the thought for others to find their own way. And that's the only thing we can hope for, because we can't steer anybody else's ship but our own.
Yeah, but the thing is every time we create a show that light, and one other person follows that, somebody else follows that, and pretty soon there's more of us than there are of them. Correct. And then we win. And then we win by the numbers.
And see, that's about sharing information. That's what it's about. And like I said, yes, being whole inside yourself is the first step. But like I said, a lot of people, they've been working on this for a lot of years, and a lot of people have been looking at these things that are here now as a serious potential 20 years ago. So a lot of us have been trying to think on, well, how would we resolve this if this came to pass? And we, the pen, the power of the pen. This is how it's done.
The way I see everything is it's all here for us to evolve spiritually, mentally, whatever the fact is. But everything is the way it should be, and that's how I see it. I don't think anything's wrong. That's how I see it. We got to fix what we got to fix. Well, no, but yeah, that came out wrong. That came out wrong.
It's the process of, this is the testing. It's like, are you going to ascend or are you going to go back to kindergarten? That will be up to you, right. And it will be up to your consciousness, and that's the internal work you're talking about. Nobody can do that for you. Nobody. That's exactly what I was getting at. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Trina. I apologize if I came off the other, because I'm not saying you're wrong. By any means, I'm not saying you're wrong, because I know everything you just said is 100% correct. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just think that if we get caught down the road of fixing other things, we're not gonna find our own way to God. And that's what it's all about. We're not here
to worry about it, somebody else's journey or anybody else's journey. We're here to find our path back to you, to me, to God. That's why I think we're here, and that's our one true self. That's how we are truly connected, I think.
I think we're here to overcome our separation and truly learn how to understand that we are one.
We just said the same thing.
That'll come. Right. Yeah, that can't happen.
I love you.
Unless the fear, the fear is reduced a little bit, because that's going to keep people from coming together, is when they're scared. So we got to be the light for that.
This is true.
Yeah.
And you're right about that. Poem was awesome, by the way, Katrina.
Oh, thank you.
I liked it.
I
liked it really much.
You two just proved something. And you know what that was? Is you were talking about the different perspectives, Trina. And then you two both talked about the same thing. You said it different ways.
Same freaking thing, yes. In a different way, yep.
In a different way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We do that all the time. And me and her kind of rub our foreheads together and butt them and finally step back and say,
strong.
Are you guys like opposite sides of each other?
Hey, and I know we're supposed to see these things from a little different view.
Yes.
And everybody gets caught up on, no, my way's the right way. And boy, that's
right. That's our
ego,
ego, I think. And my ego gets in my way all the time.
That's gotta stop. Yeah, that's gotta stop.
I know it does.
Yeah, and but when you really look at it, most of the time it's just like Steve and I. We're saying the same thing, but we're just coming from it from a little bit of a different perspective. But it's truly
passionate about it too.
Yeah, and the same truth. It's literally like you say, there's one truth. We're saying the same thing, Steve, just in different ways. But it's the same thing, which is ultimately.
I think 9 times out of 10, our conversations end in that freaking statement you just said right there.
Yeah, I love that part, because I don't see it the way that you do, and I know a lot of the guys out there. They're like, oh yeah, Steve, totally, and then a lot of the females might be going, oh, I get what Trina's saying. And then, vice versa. Some females are going, oh, no, Steve's right. Trina's, but then.
I'd rather listen to a female than a man, though.
Yeah.
When we can see these things from a little shades of differences, but come to the same process of wanting to support each other, love each other, take each other out of fear,
Bingo.
Out of a better world, we're all on the same page.
Agape, bestowal. Yes. Yeah. Bingo. That's what it's all about. Yes.
Yeah, and it's okay
accepting everybody for who they are, for what they are, for what they do, for everything.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's okay that we don't see it
I love
the
you.
same way. As long as we can embrace
I love you,
each
Trina.
other.
Thank you.
Well, you're right, because I'm watching the chat room and they're saying this, just what you said. They're saying yay, Trina, I know it, and they're saying the same thing, Steve, but that's the thing, by you two telling that, not everybody sees it exactly the way you see it, Trina. So then they're gonna, but then when Steve says it, they get it. or when I say it, they get it, because you know, like sometimes I use a lot of metaphors and little stories to tell something, and you know, and then it's like, oh yeah, I can understand that, you know.
Well, sometimes I just need the bus to back over me. You know, I need the bus driver to back over me again. To get me to realize something.
Reverse. Oh,
Run me over again, man, because I need it.
Yeah. Well, no,
Turn me into a freaking speed bump.
I ain't gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna make you sit in the back seat. You know, weren't you with your kid there, and you were bad, and the bus driver say, "You're in the back, get in the back."
Yeah, get in the back.
Well,
no, in my bus, it was.
We used to like sitting in the back, so they put us up in the front.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was always in the back. And we were talking about now. If anybody knows Jennifer Roberts, she had me and Darth on earlier today, and David Castle, and
that was a fun show.
That was and a couple other people, and that was a good show. So you know, if she puts that up, I don't know if she had it up already or whatever, but check her out. Get her some more subscribers. Get over there. Tell your friends. Yeah, yada.
44.
Yeah, True Divine 44. Yes.
Not Jennifer Roberts. That is Jennifer Roberts. But subscribe to True Divine 44.
Yes, exactly. What was I gonna say? It was on tip of my tongue now. You made me stop my thought.
I'm sorry. I just wanted people to know her channel so they could.
Yeah, subscribe. I know. I was getting there. But anyway, you were pulling the words out of my head as fast as they were going.
Well, it's funny. But you guys said it was a great show.
Yes.
You guys were on for like 3 hours or something?
Oh, man, it was a long time.
2 hours about?
Oh, that's a marathon.
You know, we were talking about the bully here being, no, we were talking about the bully, but you were talking about sitting in the bus and being a bad kid and sitting in the back of the bus and stuff. Now, I remember when I was a kid, they, you know, made you sit in the back of the bus, and that's where all the bullies were, because there was all the high schoolers in the back, and they beat the heck out of you. So I knew what it was to be the picked on kid, you know, the weak.
Oh, you grew up in a farming community.
Yeah. So anyway, I got picked on and I was bullied, and then I mean, I got as much, even as I was going through school, they did horrible things to me, like put me in a trash can and roll me around down the hill and stuff like that. Oh man, talk about miserable times. But and that's only, a few. But then when I got older, you know who the bully was? Me. Right. You know, I ended up.
You learned from the best.
But you know, and then I realized that now, you know, and if you look at that scenario, I that was a learned reaction. That wasn't something I picked up. I'm really a nice guy, you know, and I was always beat up. But then when I got big and I got older, then I realized that I could be the bully, and it was good because there was nobody beating my ass up. It was me, you know, telling them what to do, and I was king of the hill. And you know, in some ways it made me feel good, but then in other ways it makes me feel bad, because I'm thinking, well, why did I do all that stuff? But you know, I guess it was something that I learned. They taught me that. They taught me to do those things.
You know, the first time I got kicked out of school in 6th grade, Robert?
Yeah.
I beat up the school bully.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I got kicked out of all the public schools in my area. I had to go to an alternative school, and I got kicked out of that one.
You didn't have a problem with my bullies. Most of the time, they were taken care of by others.
You got picked on too, Darth?
Yeah, but most of the time, they were always taken care of, so I never really had to worry about that.
You grew up in a whole different era. Back in the day, that teacher would stand there while you just kicked the shit out of each other.
Something told me not to probably lash out. I don't know why, but just stay in your faith and know that you're divinely protected and they'll get what's coming to them, and just don't do anything. Even though I didn't always do that with my siblings, but at school, it was always different for some odd reason. I don't know why. Because when I was bullied at school, it was always taken care of. But at home, it was always a different story.
Yeah.
Which I never got. It's like, why was I being that to my sibling when I'm getting picked on at school?
Yeah, well.
One of those things is like, who the hell is in control here?
Darth, when you were going to school, things were changed a lot. when I was going to school, Trina was going to school, Steve was going to school, things were much different back in those days.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, heck, I carried a pocket knife to school and nobody cared.
Even back then, I was still working on Ascensions.
Yeah. Well,
that was like my #1 goal as a kid for some odd reason. It's like,
you know, I look at this whole bully situation and it's like, this was created too. It was like the teachers would watch kids beat you up. And they wouldn't do anything about it. Just like Robert was saying, it was like we were being indoctrinated way back then that bullying was okay, and that taking and hurting people that were weaker than you was okay. And you know, when I saw that going on, I was in 6th grade, and I literally heard that guidance in my head, because this bully was beating everybody up every day at recess, every day, every day. So here he comes again, you know, getting ready to go down the line, poking, punching, kicking, you know, hurting all these kids. And I literally heard in my head the day before when I was at home, he was like, "Why do you allow it?" And I was like, "Because he's twice the size of me and he's the bully." And I literally heard this. Is like, "Well, believe what you want, but I know what's possible." And I was like, so the next day he came and he started going down the line. And I just heard that same voice that was like, "What are you going to do?" I was like, "I'm going to kick his butt." And I did. And everybody couldn't believe it. And I don't know how that wasn't possible, but I did. And I did it good too. And you know what? I got kicked out of school and lost my volleyball team, everything, because I was fighting in my volleyball uniform. Bad idea. So, but it was all worth it though, because you know what? Nobody was getting beat up on the playground every day anymore. And you know what? He still wishes me a happy birthday every year.
Really?
Good for you.
Yes.
See, sometimes that's all that there's needed is that respect, you know, that putting that person into place, because
it's not just that. It's like, when did we learn that when we're in a protection mode and we're not trying to hurt somebody, that you have supernatural intervention?
Yeah.
When did we forget this?
Yeah. Well, that is all true. That's absolutely
That's
true.
what I'm saying. It's like, pull up your pants and get off your knees, humanity. You have no idea what's within you, especially if you're right.
Actually, a lot of people who used to pick on me are most of my friends now. It's like, okay, that works.
But yeah, you know, you need to stick up for yourself
and others.
And others, yes.
The second time I got kicked out of school was because I beat the crap out of 2 other boys for beating up a handicapped kid.
Oh yeah. See.
Oh yeah, they used his wheelchair as a demolition derby.
Oh
yeah,
man.
Yeah, and flipped him out of his chair, and I freaked out. Yeah, and like I said, superhuman. Yeah.
Well, it's true.
Or I mean, don't pick on Trina.
No, don't ever pick on anybody in front of me, because I won't tolerate people abusing people. I just won't. And I've never started a fight in my life. I never will. Never. But something inside me says, don't let people hurt other people. And it's just, I'll stand up for that.
That's a good thing. Yeah. Because we got, you know, that the person that we are we have that ego. And here is ego is not, I got some notes. The ego is not our higher self. The ego is not a good place to be in. That's our outward expression. The ego is a false part of our personality constructed in the mind. But, you know, we know, because even after we do something like that, we know we're a better person than to be you know, like you said, you go out, you lashed out, you did your thing, but that's really not who you are. Yeah.
Never. So, never. And you know, part of it, I think too, is when you're raised getting your butt kicked by your own family, you know, I just decided that wasn't okay, you know. And then it came where I saw it happening to other people, and I was like, you know what, I wish somebody could stick up for me. And I was like, you know what, I can stick up for you though, and I will. And I you know, I always tried to protect my family within the family, when shit was going down. So, you know, unfortunately that upbringing trained me. So I had a lot more within me that I was aware of. So when, the Lord's telling me, take on that school bully, so he'll stop abusing everybody else. I'm like, what are you talking about? He twice the size. Hello. He's like, well, if you don't want to believe what you have inside you, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But I know what's inside of you and I know what you're capable of. But when will you? I was like, oh, smack. So guys, this is not exclusive to me. This is in each and every one of you.
And
each and every one of you.
And that's why, when things go bad, we could rise up and be more powerful than anything else.
If we take care of each other, stop looking for some teacher or whatever to come and fix it for us. It's not how it's going to work. Yeah. I've been told this directly by source. He says, if you don't do this yourself, it ain't happening. Quit thinking some fairy magic is going to come down here and save this. You created it. This comes from you. So why would you think that anybody's going to fix it for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, which is true. So, you're right, because all these church going people say, don't worry, Jesus is
Everybody's
coming.
disappointed over the whole 17th letter of the alphabet thing, and all that, saying, it's deception, psyop, and all that. Yeah, it is. Yeah. When are you going to wake up and realize that this is going to be about you?
Yeah. So everybody sat back home and waited for this magical thing to happen, and waited, and then it never happened. And they went, because they all sat home and did nothing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be, there will never be the right option to go take to the streets, because that's just going to get you dead.
Yes.
It's just going to get you dead.
Yeah.
So like I said, this is going to be about, when will the children of God become smarter than the children of men?
We tried in one of my past lives and still didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure what went wrong, actually. I think we were tricked again back in right after that Christmas festival we had in World War I that almost ended that war. Like, we were so close to winning that war, but apparently some people got tricked again by restarting it up. I don't know what happened. I'm still trying to remember that event, but I can't. I feel like I'm so close to that event, but every time I get there, it slips away.
Well, that's the hard part, is remembering, Darth. That's why it was hidden from you in the first place. Because
I remember the joy.
I think a lot of us suppress memories because if you've been tricked into killing your brothers and your sisters, you're probably going to have a lot of issues with that trauma. So it's probably blocked for your own protection.
Yeah.
Because the event was so beautiful, but we were so close, but there is still fighting going on in the battlefield. It's like 2/3 stopped fighting, but that 1/3 of the no man's land was still fighting. So I think that's what probably still kept the war going on, because 2/3 said no, we don't want this war, especially on Christmas where we're away from our families. We just had an amazing Christmas musical throughout the entire battlefield. Then all of a sudden, like a week later, we're back to fighting.
On New Year's.
And that kind of event was banned forever. It's like, yeah, we don't want this from happening ever again.
Yeah, well, of course, you're in war. How would it be if you were in war and the generals couldn't get our troops to fight? It wouldn't be a war then. Everybody just go out there and shake hands,
That's right.
I think
giving each other hugs.
Yeah, exactly.
The song was
we try to let these fools tell us to take each other out. Let's turn around and get the ones who told us to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But
we just didn't have the communication skills to really just walk off the battlefield, apparently.
Oh yeah, because that's what people aren't trained to do. They're not trained to walk off the battlefield. They're trained to go into battle. It's just the way it is. Some of us
did try burying the dead, and then afterward we just celebrated and gave each other gifts before getting caught by the higher ups. And it was like, oh crap, here we go again.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's been a good hour, and thank you, Darth, for reading the card. And Trina, we think we lost Steve somewhere, but
did we?
Yeah,
I thought so.
In the snow. The snow probably got too deep and he got buried somewhere, but
Yes.
he'll come out. He's got that big loader to, move the snow around. So
thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for coming. We had a lot of people pop in. We had a few other ones, Christy Schaefer, Sky Hart. Who didn't I see in here that came in late? Renee Hutchelson, Pa Joe. I think I've seen him in there before. But anyway.
Thank you for teaching me not to have the chat up.
Yeah, it helps, huh?
Yes, it does. Because I know I would be distracted by chat.
I know it's so hard to focus and watch chat, and then like I said, we're getting so many weird feedback issues now too. So it's I've been having to keep it off for a while because it's just freaking everything out.
That's why I'm the bus driver, and I am watching the chat and controlling the room, and we are good to go.
I think this is a great message for tonight, David Icke. Humanity, yeah.
Here, let me blow that up and for a second so everybody can see that. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Human race, get off your knees. The lion sleeps no more. David Icke.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's the same message that Raw gave me.
Right. Guys, it's going to be up to us. I swear we're going to have to get this in our brains. There's not going to be no savior. If there was going to be, it would have already been here.
Yeah, we are the savior.
Funny enough, that message
and we're going to do this. We're going to do this by getting smart. That's the only way it's going to happen is we've got to increase our light, and that means knowledge.
Funny enough, that message came to me as soon as that conjunction hit. That's when Ross started talking to me. As soon as that conjunction hit, I'm like, really? You choose now to hit? I get found out.
Christ doesn't return as the lamb, y'all. Christ returns as the lion.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's nothing good that comes of it. Anyway, so with that going on, thank you all. Thank you, everybody. And remember, be the frequency you want to receive. Love you all.